Ladies and gentlemen, today I invite you to explore a journey, not just of a man, but of an inner force that inspires everyone around him. This is the story of the power within Joe Ranga, a story that reminds us that true strength does not come from fame, money, or influence. It comes from values, resilience, and the courage to rise again and again. Joe Ranga's life is a glowing example of how ordinary moments can shape extraordinary individuals. He was not born with privilege, nor did he walk a path free of struggle. But what set him apart was his inner power, the power of character, of determination, and of belief. Every time Joe faced a challenge, he chose to grow instead of giving up. Every time he encountered uncertainty, he responded with courage rather than fear. Every time life tried to push him down, he stood up stronger. This is the power within him, something each one of us possesses but too often overlooks. Joe Ranga teaches us that greatness begins the moment we stop doubting our potential. That each challenge is actually a mirror showing us who we can become. And that no matter how dark life may seem, the spark inside us can light the path forward. So let us remember this: the true power within Joe Ranga is the same power within all of us. The ability to stay focused, stay strong, stay humble, and stay hopeful. If we learn to use that power with patience and purpose, we can create a life that not only inspires us but inspires the world around us. Inner strength is the foundation upon which Joe Ranga built his entire journey, and it is the greatest source of power any individual can possess. For Joe, this strength did not appear suddenly, nor was it given to him by others. It grew from years of struggle, reflection, self-discipline, and conscious choices. He learned early in life that external achievements are temporary, but inner qualities such as courage, resilience, and mental clarity stay with you forever. Joe discovered that true power begins the moment a person decides to trust their own abilities. When life presented challenges, instead of relying on external validation, he looked inward. He understood that people may doubt you, circumstances may push you, and situations may weaken you, but the voice inside, if strong, can guide you through any storm. This internal voice became his compass, helping him stay steady even when everything around him seemed uncertain. What made Joe's inner strength remarkable was not just its presence, but the way he used it. He did not see strength as aggression or dominance. Instead, he saw it as the calmness to think clearly under pressure, the patience to wait for the right moment, and the emotional control to respond instead of react. His strength showed in his ability to remain grounded, to stay focused on his goals, and to believe in his dreams even when they seemed far away. Over time, Joe realized that your inner power is built through the battles no one else sees, the late-night struggles, the hidden sacrifices, the silent doubts that you overcome on your own. It is these invisible victories that create unstoppable individuals. Every moment Joe chose discipline over comfort, growth over excuses, and hope over fear, his inner strength grew deeper. This key point highlights a universal truth. When your inner foundation is strong, no external situation can break you. And Joe Ranga's transformation proves that anyone, regardless of background, can unlock that same hidden power within themselves through self-awareness, effort, and unwavering belief. Challenges played a defining role in shaping Joe Ranga's character, turning him from an ordinary individual into someone capable of extraordinary strength and clarity. From a young age, Joe learned that life does not always hand you comfort, fairness, or easy paths. Instead, it tests your patience, your spirit, and your ability to rise above circumstances. Every challenge he encountered became a silent teacher, pushing him to discover parts of himself he never knew existed. Joe understood something powerful. Challenges are not barriers meant to stop us. They are bridges meant to elevate us. Each obstacle he faced was like a mirror reflecting his weaknesses, his fears, and his doubts. Instead of running away from these reflections, he confronted them with honesty. He allowed hardships to sharpen his determination rather than break his confidence. This mindset transformed difficulties into opportunities for growth, making him mentally stronger and emotionally wiser. There were moments when the weight of responsibilities and failures felt overwhelming. But Joe realized that pressure is not always a punishment. Sometimes, it is preparation. Just like fire shapes metal, challenges refined his character, strengthening qualities such as patience, discipline, and resilience. Through each test, he learned how to stay calm in chaos, how to think clearly during confusion, and how to believe in himself even when results were uncertain. Another important lesson Joe discovered was that character is not built during comfort. It is revealed in adversity. When life was easy, his potential remained hidden. But when he was pushed into difficult situations, he discovered his ability to adapt, endure, and transform. These challenging moments taught him humility, reminding him that growth requires both struggle and acceptance. Most importantly, Joe learned that challenges give you a choice. You can let them define you negatively, or you can use them to build a stronger version of yourself. He chose the second path, allowing each experience to add depth to his personality, purpose to his actions, and wisdom to his decisions. Over time, these accumulated lessons shaped him into someone capable of guiding, inspiring, and uplifting others. Through Joe Ranga's journey, it becomes clear that challenges are not just events, they are sculptors. They carve out your strengths, polish your character, and prepare you for the life you are meant to live. Joe Ranga's journey reveals a profound truth. Failure is not the end, it is the turning point that builds champions. While many people fear failure or try their best to avoid it, Joe embraced it as an essential part of growth. He understood that every meaningful success in life is built on lessons learned from setbacks, disappointments, and unexpected losses. Instead of viewing failure as a sign of weakness, he saw it as a powerful opportunity to rise stronger, wiser, and more determined than before. Joe experienced moments when everything seemed to fall apart. Plans collapsed, progress slowed, and results did not match the effort he poured in. During those times, he felt the sting of defeat, but he never allowed it to define his identity. He realized that failure is only a temporary event, not a permanent label. This mindset made all the difference. While others saw failure as a wall, Joe saw it as a stepping stone, a platform to launch a better comeback. Every time Joe fell, he didn't just get back up casually, he rose with purpose. He reflected deeply on what went wrong, what he could improve, and how he could approach the situation differently. This ability to learn from mistakes transformed failures into powerful lessons. Each setback became a teacher, sharpening his thinking, improving his discipline, and strengthening his resilience. Joe discovered that rising after failure requires courage. It demands humility to accept mistakes, strength to face the consequences, and faith to believe that better days are ahead. He knew that anyone can feel confident when things are easy, but real confidence shows when you stand up again after being knocked down. This courage to rise separated Joe from those who remained stuck in fear. He also learned to detach himself from the fear of judgment. Many people refuse to try again because they worry about what others will say. But Joe understood that the opinions of others cannot control your destiny unless you allow them to. He focused on his goals, not on the noise around him. This allowed him to bounce back faster and with greater clarity. Over time, Joe realized that every comeback made him stronger than he was before. Each recovery added a new layer of strength to his spirit, a strength built not on comfort, but on perseverance and self-belief. Rising after failure became his trademark, his secret power, and the foundation for all future success. Joe Ranga's story reminds us that true victory isn't measured by how many times you avoid failure, but by how many times you choose to stand up after falling. This ability to rise transforms ordinary individuals into unstoppable forces. One of the greatest strengths Joe Ranga developed over time was consistency, the quiet, patient force that transforms dreams into reality. While many people expect immediate results or dramatic breakthroughs, Joe understood that real success is built step by step, through small daily actions that accumulate over time. He realized that consistency is not about perfection, nor is it about always having high energy. It is about showing up even when motivation fades, even when progress feels slow, and even when the path becomes difficult. For Joe, consistency became a lifestyle. He learned that discipline is louder than inspiration. Inspiration may spark the beginning of a journey, but it is consistency that carries you across the finish line. Whether it was improving his skills, strengthening his mindset, or working toward long-term goals, Joe committed to showing up every day with intention. Even on the days when he felt tired or discouraged, he reminded himself that small progress is better than no progress at all. This steady effort helped him develop habits that shaped his character. He practiced routines that kept him focused, maintained structure in his day, and set clear priorities that aligned with his purpose. Joe discovered that once good habits take root, consistency becomes natural. It stops feeling like effort and becomes a part of who you are. This internal shift allowed him to maintain momentum even during challenging periods. Joe also realized that consistency builds trust, not only with others but with oneself. Every time he completed a task, followed through on a commitment, or honored his goals, he strengthened his self-confidence. He began to trust his ability to follow through, which made him more determined and more reliable. This self-trust created a cycle of growth. The more consistent he became, the more capable he felt, and the more success he achieved. Another lesson Joe learned was that consistency multiplies results over time. A single day of effort might seem insignificant, but when repeated over weeks, months, and years, the impact becomes powerful. He saw how small daily improvements, just 1% better each day, eventually led to massive transformation. What once felt impossible became achievable because he committed to the process, one step at a time. Joe's consistency also taught him patience. He understood that meaningful achievements require time. Instead of rushing or comparing himself to others, he focused on his own path. He celebrated progress rather than perfection, and he learned to appreciate the journey as much as the destination. This mindset removed pressure and allowed him to move forward with calm determination. Through his dedication, Joe proved that consistency is not just a habit, it is a form of strength. It builds discipline, shapes identity, and turns ordinary efforts into extraordinary outcomes. His journey shows that success is less about talent or luck and more about recurring effort, commitment, and the willingness to keep moving forward day after day. Self-belief was one of the strongest forces driving Joe Ranga's transformation. It was not arrogance nor blind confidence. It was a deep inner conviction that he had something valuable within him, even if the world had not yet seen it. Joe discovered that when a person truly believes in their abilities, every challenge becomes manageable and every goal becomes reachable. This belief was not given to him by others. He built it slowly through experience, reflection, and determination. In the beginning, Joe faced moments where doubt seemed stronger than confidence. He questioned whether he could succeed, whether he was capable enough, and whether his dreams were too big. But over time he realized that doubt is only powerful when you listen to it. The moment he started trusting himself, the world around him began to shift. He stopped waiting for approval from others and started validating his own efforts. His inner voice grew stronger, reminding him that the only limits that truly exist are the ones we place on ourselves. Joe learned that self-belief is like a muscle. It grows when challenged. Every time he stepped outside his comfort zone, took a risk, or pushed through fear, he strengthened this inner power. He understood that courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means acting despite fear because you trust your own potential. This mindset allowed him to attempt things he once thought were impossible. With each accomplishment, big or small, his confidence deepened, creating a cycle of growth that continuously pushed him forward. Another crucial realization Joe had was that self-belief fuels resilience. People who trust themselves do not break easily. When setbacks occur, they do not see them as signs to stop. Instead, they see them as reminders that they are still learning. Joe adopted this approach fully. Whenever something went wrong, he reassured himself that he possessed the ability to overcome it. This inner reassurance became his emotional anchor during tough times, keeping him steady and focused. Self-belief also gave Joe the power to dream boldly. He allowed himself to imagine a better future, to set higher goals, and to chase ambitions that once felt out of reach. He understood that believing in yourself does not guarantee success, but not believing in yourself almost guarantees failure. This clarity made him fearless in pursuing opportunities and confident in creating his own path. One of the most important lessons Joe discovered is that when you believe in yourself, people around you begin to believe in you too. Confidence is contagious. It inspires, influences, and empowers others. Joe's growing self-belief helped him earn respect, trust, and admiration from those who crossed his path. His energy shifted. He walked with purpose, spoke with conviction, and acted with assurance. Ultimately, Joe's story shows that self-belief is the key that unlocks every hidden potential. It awakens talents you didn't know existed, opens doors you never imagined, and transforms an ordinary life into an extraordinary journey. It is the inner light that guides you through darkness and leads you toward the person you are meant to become. One of the most transformative realizations in Joe Ranga's journey was understanding the meaning and importance of purpose. Joe discovered that having power, whether it is talent, intelligence, resilience, or skills, means very little unless it is guided by a clear direction. Power without purpose is like a ship with no captain. It may move, but it never truly arrives anywhere meaningful. Purpose, on the other hand, gives shape, intention, and focus to every action, turning raw potential into meaningful achievement. In the early stages of his life, Joe often felt lost, despite having strengths that others admired. He had energy, determination, and ambition, but without a clear path, his efforts felt scattered. He worked hard but often felt like he was moving in circles. This changed the moment he began questioning why he wanted success instead of only how to achieve it. That simple shift, from action to intention, opened a new level of clarity in his life. Joe realized that purpose is not found in one moment. It is discovered gradually through experience, failures, reflections, and personal values. As he faced challenges, he learned what mattered to him. As he overcame obstacles, he discovered what he wanted to stand for. Slowly, his deeper calling came into focus. He wanted to grow, inspire, and become someone who lifts others through his own example. Once this purpose became clear, every decision he made became more focused and meaningful. With purpose guiding him, Joe no longer wasted time on distractions or paths that did not align with his goals. He learned to say no to things that did not support his growth. This gave him a sense of freedom and direction. His energy flowed into things that strengthened him, helped him evolve, and moved him closer to the life he envisioned. Purpose became the compass that helped him navigate life's challenges with confidence and calmness. Another powerful realization Joe had was that purpose fuels motivation. Motivation alone is inconsistent. It rises and falls depending on emotions. But purpose is steady. It keeps you moving even when you're tired, discouraged, or unsure. On days when Joe felt unmotivated, he reminded himself of why he started. That reminder was enough to rekindle his focus and push him forward. Purpose turned discipline into a natural habit instead of a burden. Joe also learned that purpose brings meaning to struggle. When he faced difficulties, he no longer saw them as meaningless pain but as steps toward something greater. This mindset shift made him more patient, more resilient, and more determined. He understood that obstacles were simply part of the journey, not reasons to stop. Knowing his purpose gave him the emotional courage to endure hardships with a strong heart. Most importantly, purpose made Joe's power impactful. His strength became more than personal, it became something that inspired others. People around him felt his clarity, his conviction, and his deeper sense of direction. He didn't just grow for himself, he grew in a way that encouraged others to find their own paths. Through his journey, Joe Ranga proved that purpose is the force that transforms inner power into real-world influence. It turns effort into impact, struggle into progress, and potential into a legacy. Humility became one of the defining qualities that shaped Joe Ranga into a leader who inspired others through his actions rather than his authority. Joe learned early in his journey that true leadership is not measured by how loudly someone speaks or how much control they have. It is measured by the respect they earn, the trust they build, and the positive influence they create in the lives of others. Humility played a major role in forming that foundation for him. Joe's humility came from recognizing that no matter how much he achieved, there was always more to learn and more ways to improve. Instead of letting success feed his ego, he used it as a reminder of the responsibility that comes with growth. This attitude made him approachable, grounded, and relatable. People felt comfortable around him because he did not try to prove he was better than anyone else. He simply focused on becoming better than his past self. One of the most powerful aspects of Joe's humility was his willingness to listen. He understood that good leaders speak with purpose, but great leaders listen with intention. He listened to advice, to criticism, and to the experiences of others. He didn't see feedback as an attack, he saw it as a chance to grow. This created strong relationships because people felt valued, respected, and understood. Joe also realized that humility is connected to inner strength. It takes confidence to admit mistakes, courage to acknowledge weaknesses, and wisdom to accept that you don't have all the answers. Many people pretend to be perfect out of fear, but Joe learned that pretending limits growth. By being honest about his flaws, he allowed himself the space to learn, evolve, and strengthen his character. This honesty made him not only respected but deeply trusted. Another important lesson Joe learned is that humility helps leaders stay focused on their purpose, not their pride. Many individuals lose direction when they become too focused on their own importance. But Joe stayed committed to the bigger picture. His growth, his values, and the people who believed in him. This groundedness kept him from being distracted by praise or discouraged by criticism. He remained steady and balanced, driven not by ego but by intention. Humility also enabled Joe to uplift others. Instead of trying to stand above people, he worked alongside them. He celebrated their strengths, encouraged their progress, and supported their journeys. His leadership style wasn't built on superiority but on teamwork and empowerment. This made the people around him more confident, more united, and more willing to push themselves. One of the greatest impacts of Joe's humility was the example it set. Others looked at him and realized that you can be strong without being intimidating, confident without being arrogant, and successful without forgetting where you came from. His behavior demonstrated that humility is not weakness. It is the quiet strength that allows a leader to grow continuously and inspire deeply. Through Joe Ranga's experiences, it becomes clear that humility is not just a personal virtue. It is a powerful leadership tool. It creates trust, encourages growth, strengthens relationships, and builds a foundation for long-lasting influence. One of the most empowering lessons Joe Ranga discovered on his journey was the transformative power of positivity. He learned that a positive mindset isn't about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on possibilities rather than limitations, solutions rather than problems, and growth rather than defeat. Positivity became the mental filter through which Joe interpreted his experiences, and it shaped the direction of his life in profound ways. Joe realized that life will always bring challenges, disappointments, and unexpected obstacles. These moments are inevitable. But he also learned that the way you respond to them determines what they become, either stepping stones or stumbling blocks. At times, Joe faced moments where negativity could have easily taken over. Failures, delays, criticisms, and situations that felt completely out of his control. Instead of allowing these experiences to dictate his emotions, he made a conscious choice to maintain a hopeful and constructive attitude. This shift didn't change the circumstances instantly, but it changed him, and that made all the difference. What made Joe's positivity powerful was its authenticity. He was not blindly optimistic. He recognized hardships, acknowledged pain, and accepted reality with honesty. But he also pushed himself to look for meaning in difficulty, strength in vulnerability, and lessons in adversity. This balanced mindset gave him emotional stability. While others were overwhelmed by stress, Joe remained calm, collected, and focused because he trained his mind to look beyond temporary struggles and see the bigger picture. Positivity also strengthened Joe's resilience. When things went wrong, he refused to let negativity drain his energy or block his progress. Instead, he used positive thinking as a source of fuel, a reminder that he still had the power to change his situation. This mindset made him bounce back faster, recover quicker, and move forward with renewed motivation. It prevented him from becoming stuck in hesitation, fear, or regret. Another important lesson Joe discovered is that positivity influences the people around you. Your energy becomes contagious. When Joe approached challenges with optimism, others began doing the same. His words encouraged people, his attitude lifted their spirits, and his outlook helped them see hope where they once saw obstacles. He learned that positivity doesn't just transform your own experience. It creates a ripple effect that improves the environment, strengthens teamwork, and inspires others to believe in themselves. Joe also found that a positive mindset enhances creativity. Instead of shutting down when faced with problems, he became more open to new ideas, possibilities, and strategies. This openness helped him find solutions he may have overlooked in a negative state of mind. Positivity expanded his vision, allowing him to see opportunities hidden within challenges. Most importantly, positivity gave Joe inner peace. It helped him stay calm in chaos, patient in struggle, and grateful in every season of life. He learned to appreciate small victories, celebrate progress, and acknowledge the good around him. This gratitude kept him grounded, balanced, and emotionally strong. Through Joe Ranga's experience, positivity proved to be more than a mindset. It became a powerful tool that shaped his growth, strengthened his leadership, and transformed every step of his journey into an opportunity for learning and evolution. Another powerful truth Joe Ranga discovered on his path was the unmatched importance of discipline. While motivation can inspire a beginning and passion can spark excitement, Joe learned that discipline is the real bridge between aspirations and achievement. It is the quiet, daily commitment that transforms hopes into habits and goals into outcomes. Without discipline, even the strongest dreams remain only ideas. But with discipline, they become inevitable. In the early stages of his journey, Joe often relied on motivation. On good days, he achieved a lot. He felt driven, energetic, and enthusiastic. But on difficult days he struggled to maintain the same pace. This inconsistency taught him a crucial lesson. Motivation is unreliable because it depends on emotion, and emotion changes. Discipline, however, is built on commitment, not mood. Once Joe embraced discipline, he no longer depended on feeling ready. He simply showed up and did what needed to be done. Joe realized that discipline is the ability to make decisions based on goals instead of feelings. It meant waking up early even when he was tired, practicing skills even when progress felt slow, and staying focused even when distractions appeared tempting. The more he cultivated discipline, the more his confidence grew. He began to trust himself, not because he believed he was perfect but because he knew he would stay consistent with his actions. This reliability became one of his biggest strengths. Another profound insight Joe gained was understanding that discipline creates structure. Without structure, life becomes scattered and chaotic. With structure, every hour has intention, every task has purpose, and every day becomes a building block for the future. He started organizing his time, setting clear priorities, and breaking big goals into small manageable steps. This not only improved his productivity but also reduced stress. He no longer felt overwhelmed because he always knew what to focus on next. Joe also understood that discipline demands sacrifice. To grow, he had to let go of comfort, laziness, and distractions. There were days when friends were relaxing while Joe was working on his craft. But he never felt deprived, he felt empowered. He realized that temporary sacrifices lead to long-term rewards, and the pain of discipline is always smaller than the regret of inaction. An important transformation happened when Joe saw discipline not as a punishment, but as a form of self-respect. Every disciplined choice told his mind, I deserve success. I deserve progress. This shift changed the way he approached challenges. Discipline became a form of love toward his future self, a promise he made and honored every day. Joe also noticed something remarkable. As his discipline grew, opportunities began to appear. People trusted him more. His skills sharpened. His progress accelerated. He started achieving things he once thought were too far away. Success didn't happen overnight, but it became a natural result of sustained effort, just as discipline teaches. Through his journey, Joe proved that discipline is not harsh. It is liberating. It frees you from procrastination, excuses, fear, and inconsistency. It shapes your character, strengthens your will, and gives you control over your destiny. Joe Ranga's experience shows that discipline is the true engine behind progress, the force that turns ordinary days into extraordinary achievements. It is the commitment to show up, to stay focused, and to keep moving even when the path is not easy. Joe Ranga's journey illustrates the extraordinary power of vision, the ability to see beyond the present and imagine a future that others might not yet perceive. Vision is more than just a dream. It is a clear mental image of what you want to create, combined with the awareness of the path to reach it. Joe understood that without vision, effort can become aimless, energy can be wasted, and talent can remain untapped. Vision provides direction, focus, and purpose, ensuring that every action contributes to something meaningful. From the beginning, Joe realized that the world is full of distractions and competing priorities. Without a clear vision, it is easy to be swayed by temporary gains, societal pressures, or short-term setbacks. By defining his vision, he created a mental map of where he wanted to go. This map did not eliminate obstacles, but it allowed him to navigate challenges strategically, keeping his focus on the ultimate goal rather than getting lost in immediate frustrations. Vision also fueled Joe's motivation. Even during periods of struggle, when progress seemed slow or uncertain, he had a mental picture of success that kept him moving forward. This vision acted like a lighthouse, guiding him through the storms of doubt and discouragement. It reminded him why he started, what he was capable of, and what he wanted to contribute to the world. One of the most powerful aspects of Joe's vision was its clarity. He didn't just vaguely hope for success, he visualized the steps, outcomes, and milestones along the way. He knew what skills he needed to develop, what challenges he would likely face, and what sacrifices would be required. This detailed vision allowed him to plan effectively, act decisively, and maintain momentum even when the path seemed unclear. Vision also shaped Joe's decisions. Every choice, whether big or small, was filtered through the lens of his long-term goals. He became adept at prioritizing actions that aligned with his ultimate purpose, avoiding distractions that could derail him. This alignment between vision and action ensured that his efforts were not scattered but directed toward meaningful progress. Joe realized that vision is also a source of inspiration for others. When people see someone who is focused, driven, and clear about their purpose, it encourages them to pursue their own goals. His vision didn't just impact his own life, it inspired those around him to think bigger, aim higher, and believe in the possibility of transformation. Another key insight Joe discovered is that vision requires both imagination and action. It's not enough to simply dream. You must take consistent, deliberate steps toward turning that dream into reality. Vision without effort remains a fantasy, but vision combined with action becomes a blueprint for success. Joe's life demonstrates that those who cultivate a strong vision and pursue it relentlessly can achieve results far beyond what they initially imagined. Finally, Joe learned that vision evolves. As he grew, he refined his understanding of what truly mattered, adjusted his goals, and expanded his perspective. This adaptability allowed him to stay relevant, seize new opportunities, and continue moving forward with purpose. Vision, Joe discovered, is not static. It is a living guide that grows with experience, wisdom, and ambition. Through Joe Ranga's journey, it becomes clear that vision is the compass that guides every step, the fuel that drives perseverance, and the lens that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievements. It turns potential into reality and ensures that every action has meaning, direction, and impact. Joe Ranga's journey demonstrates that courage is one of the most essential qualities for unlocking potential and creating extraordinary opportunities. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the ability to act in spite of it. Joe understood that every meaningful achievement requires stepping beyond comfort zones and embracing uncertainty. Without the willingness to take risks, even the most talented individuals may remain confined within the boundaries of safety, missing out on the life they are capable of creating. From early on, Joe faced moments where fear could have easily dictated his choices. There were opportunities that seemed promising but uncertain, paths that could lead to success or failure, and decisions that required him to risk stability for growth. Many would have played it safe, choosing comfort over challenge. But Joe realized that calculated risks were essential to progress. By confronting fear head-on, he opened doors that would have otherwise remained closed. Joe discovered that courage and preparation go hand in hand. He didn't act recklessly. He evaluated risks, gathered knowledge, and then made bold moves with confidence. This combination of courage and planning allowed him to minimize unnecessary losses while maximizing the potential for success. Each risk taken became a lesson, whether it led to triumph or setback, and contributed to his growth. Moreover, taking risks taught Joe resilience. Every time he faced uncertainty, he learned how to adapt, recover, and continue moving forward. Even when outcomes were not as expected, the experience itself strengthened his decision-making, improved his confidence, and expanded his capacity for future challenges. Over time, what once felt daunting became an opportunity to test his limits and discover his true potential. Joe also realized that courage inspires others. When people observe someone facing fear with determination, it encourages them to confront their own challenges. His willingness to step into the unknown not only shaped his journey but also became a beacon of inspiration, motivating those around him to pursue their own dreams without hesitation. Another important lesson Joe learned is that risks create possibilities that comfort cannot. Staying within familiar boundaries may feel safe, but it limits growth. True progress comes from venturing into the unknown, embracing challenges, and daring to dream bigger than circumstances might suggest. Each risk taken is a chance to achieve something greater than what was previously imagined. Finally, Joe understood that courage is a habit developed through action. The more he faced uncertainty and acted despite fear, the stronger and more confident he became. Courage is not a one-time event. It is cultivated daily through consistent choices, bold moves, and the willingness to step forward even when the outcome is uncertain. Joe Ranga's journey shows that courage to take risks is a transformative force. It turns fear into opportunity, hesitation into action, and dreams into reality. It is through courageous choices that new paths are forged, limitations are challenged, and extraordinary achievements are realized. Joe Ranga's journey demonstrates that persistence is the ultimate differentiator between those who achieve their dreams and those who give up too soon. Persistence is not merely continuing to act. It is a deep-rooted commitment to a goal, sustained through challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Joe realized early that talent, motivation, or luck alone could not guarantee success. What truly matters is the ability to keep going when the path is difficult, when progress is slow, or when failure feels inevitable. Throughout his life, Joe faced countless obstacles. There were times when results seemed distant, when his efforts did not yield immediate rewards, and when external circumstances threatened to derail his plans. Many would have accepted defeat, convinced that the situation was beyond repair. But Joe understood that obstacles are not permanent barriers, they are tests of resolve. Each challenge was an opportunity to strengthen his determination, sharpen his skills, and reaffirm his commitment to his vision. Persistence, Joe discovered, requires patience and faith in the process. It is the understanding that growth is incremental and that significant achievements are rarely immediate. He learned to focus on consistent effort rather than instant outcomes, knowing that each step forward, no matter how small, brought him closer to his goals. This mindset allowed him to stay calm and disciplined even during prolonged periods of struggle, reducing frustration and maintaining momentum. Another important aspect of persistence is adaptability. Joe realized that being persistent does not mean stubbornly repeating the same actions without reflection. True persistence involves evaluating strategies, learning from mistakes, and adjusting approaches while never abandoning the ultimate objective. Joe combined resilience with intelligence. He persevered with purpose, ensuring that his actions were effective and aligned with his vision. Persistence also strengthened Joe's character. It taught him humility, endurance, and resilience. Every time he overcame a challenge, his confidence grew, not because the world became easier but because he became stronger. This inner growth gave him the courage to face future obstacles with even greater determination, creating a cycle of continuous improvement. Joe noticed that persistence inspires others. People are drawn to individuals who do not quit, who remained committed despite difficulties. His steadfast approach motivated those around him to adopt similar resilience, creating a ripple effect of determination, optimism, and progress. Persistence became contagious, not just a personal trait but a source of influence. Finally, Joe discovered that persistence turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Many people have talent, ideas, and ambition, but those who succeed are the ones who refuse to stop, even when circumstances are challenging. Persistence allows dreams to survive setbacks, vision to endure adversity, and potential to manifest fully. It is the quiet force that outlasts obstacles, defeats doubts, and transforms challenges into achievements. Joe Ranga's life proves that persistence is not simply continuing, it is the unwavering commitment to press forward, the courage to face difficulties repeatedly, and the determination to achieve one's goals no matter how long the journey takes. It is the defining factor that separates those who dream from those who turn dreams into reality. In the story of Joe Ranga, we find a reflection of the power that resides within each of us. His journey teaches us that strength is built through perseverance, courage, and self-belief, that challenges are not roadblocks but stepping stones, and that consistency, discipline, and purpose transform ordinary effort into extraordinary achievements. Joe's life is a reminder that true power is not measured by fame, wealth, or recognition. It is measured by the impact we create, the lives we uplift, and the legacy we leave behind. Each lesson from his journey encourages us to look inward, discover our own potential, and embrace the qualities that can help us overcome obstacles and achieve greatness. Let us take inspiration from Joe Ranga and remember that the power within us is limitless. When we combine vision with action, courage with persistence, and positivity with humility, there is no challenge too great, no dream too distant, and no goal beyond reach. The journey to greatness begins when we recognize that the power we seek has always been inside us. This is the power within Joe Ranga, and it is the power within each one of us.